Brian Johnson sold his company for $800 million to reverse his aging. Jeff Bezos has spent multiple nine figures on increasing his lifespan. And Peter Thiel has invested heavily on genetic anti-aging tech. Now, this has led people to believe in a fallacy that you have to spend millions of dollars to reduce aging, which is simply not true. Because your investment isn't the real problem. It's the fact that you've been conditioned to believe longevity is only for the privileged. You've been distracted by the biohacking's industry marketing machine. And trust me, that machine is big. And it's also that we've forgotten the effective longevity hacks that have been around for literally centuries and cost pretty much nothing. So the question is, how do you solve this without spending thousands on random tech and pricey supplement stacks? Well, hundreds of my clients have used 4 simple longevity hacks to permanently minimize the rate of aging naturally and sustainably. And in today's video, that is exactly what we'll be breaking down. So first of all, what is aging? Aging at its core is the gradual buildup of damage inside our bodies. Every day, your cells take tiny hits from things like toxins, poor sleep, stress, and inflammation. And listen, when your body's young, your body clears that damage very quickly. But as time goes on, the damage in starts to exceed the damage out. The repair system slows, the waste begins to accumulate, and your cells don't bounce back the way they used to. That is the gap between damage and repair, and that is really what aging is about. Trust me, it's not about time passing or you're getting older. It's your body losing its ability to restore itself at the same speed that it once did. And you can always tell when someone is aging faster than they should. Their energy is normally lower. They feel tired even after a full night's sleep. They feel less refreshed. They feel stiffer when they wake up. Their digestion becomes slower and heavier. Their skin becomes looser and less elastic and has less of a glow to it. Also, their mood is less stable. And really, day-to-day life feels like something they're having to manage instead of something that is just they're fully living. Some people even start needing an afternoon nap. Now, I've got nothing against afternoon naps. I have them occasionally, but when you need them, that's a challenge. And also people notice they get injured a lot more easier. So you go to the gym, you used to be able to go 2 or 3 times a week. You now only go once or twice, and you really have to warm up and warm down. There's a whole process that you have to do in order to not injure yourself. So basically recovery just takes a lot longer. And the funny thing is, I don't think it's the symptoms that are the real issue. I think it's the consequences of those symptoms. So when you're really feeling the aging process, you have to second guess, can I go out and have dinner with friends? Do I have the energy? Do that and then work the next day? Do I maybe have to avoid certain trips because I don't want to eat at a restaurant and my digestion's impaired and I'll be that difficult person? Or it's skipping social events because you just know you need to sleep at least 10 hours to just feel normal the next day. That for me is the real consequence of aging. Now, here's the big question. What actually causes someone to age rapidly? And surprisingly, it's not usually genetics. It's actually your habits. The things we do every single day that compound over time. So let's take a quick look at what these might be. Number one, and this is one of the biggest accelerators of aging, is your diet. So processed foods, seed oils, refined sugar, all of these create chronic inflammation in your body and it erodes your cells from the inside out. And the second one, and this is a big one, is sedentary living. Most people today spend 8 to 10 hours sitting down, which means lymph flow slows down, circulation drops, and also your ability to detox stalls, alongside your metabolic health declining. Then there's a chronic exposure to non-native EMFs. This one to me is the most underrated one of them all when it comes to aging. Constant Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, smart devices, 5G, all of these different exposures create oxidative stress within our bodies. And finally, there is poor sleep. You could be doing everything perfect, eating well, exercising, but if you aren't getting good sleep and not repairing at night, everything declines faster. Sleep is where your detox processes really ramp up. Without deep restorative sleep, you are aging even when you are technically resting. And here's the thing, these habits, they compound over days, months, and years. And suddenly, someone who's 35 feels 50, whilst people who bake in what I'm about to tell you can be in their 50s, yet easily feel 35. And listen, here's the really interesting thing. A lot of people out there looking for longevity, they're chasing the wrong solutions. They're focusing on things like NAD injections, peptide stacks, loads of supplements, and DEXA scans. And listen, while there's nothing wrong with any of those tools, the problem is that they overlook the daily behaviors that actually drive aging in the first place. People think they can magically just keep living how they're living and take all of these things and they get all the benefits of longevity and aging. Doesn't work like that. And it certainly doesn't undo the years of congestion and inflammation within your body. It's human nature, but we tend to focus on the shiny expensive, futuristic solutions whilst ignoring the low-cost, high-impact habits that have been proven for longevity for hundreds of years. Now, understanding aging is one thing, but slowing it down and in many cases reversing your biological age and signs of it comes down to daily habits. Before I get into these 4 longevity hacks, I need to be absolutely clear. If you want longevity, you cannot shortcut the fundamentals. You need to make sure that you're getting good deep sleep, that you're eating organic food. You also need sunlight and nature consistently. You need connection, you need community, you need relationships. All of that stuff is really important. And you also need movement that isn't just workouts, getting out into nature, being outside. All of that stuff to me is so important. And you need to reduce your exposure to things that overwhelm your system. Things like EMFs, processed foods, and chronic stress. Personally, I think these are not optional. These are foundational pieces to longevity. And when all of these things are in place, everything else that I'm about to tell you in this video is 10 times more effective. Now, the 4 longevity hacks I'm about to share with you are not expensive. In fact, this is the part that shocks most people. Some of the most powerful longevity tools humans have ever used, ancient, they're simple, and almost completely ignored today. So let's dive into my 4 longevity hacks. So the first longevity hack that you can add into your routine to slow aging is surprisingly simple, and it's water enemas. And listen, I get it. For a lot of people, this is new, this is unheard of, and it sounds a bit left field at first. But enemas are actually one of the oldest healing tools in human history. They were documented in ancient Egypt, the Greeks used them, and even Hippocrates recommended them. And check this out. This quote I'm about to read you gives you real context for just how important your colon health is. Of the 22,000 operations I've personally performed, I've never found a single normal colon. In my opinion, more than 90% of diseases of civilization are due to improper functioning of the colon. That quote was from Dr. Harvey Kellogg, who was a pioneer in natural hygiene practices in the early 1900s. And yes, that's Kellogg's, as in the cereal. And no, we're not going to get into his views on reducing male sexual energy. You can give that a Google and find that elsewhere. So here's the best way that I understand it. Most people spend a lot of their time brushing their teeth, cleaning their mouths, flossing, the whole thing, right? Because you know what happens when you let bacteria and waste and plaque build up in your mouth. But what happens at the end of your digestive tract? Most people never clean it, literally ever, and yet it has the same function. It's moving waste through the body. The inside of your colon can build up with plaque, waste, and excess mucus that is associated with a whole host of issues like inflammation, bloating, fatigue, brain fog, skin issues, and of course, accelerated aging. The inside of your colon should be clean and should be smooth like the inside of your mouth, but most people don't even get close to this. So why does doing water enemas matter for longevity and aging? Because when your colon is overloaded with old waste, with food residues, with mucus and toxins, your bloodstream becomes more toxic, your liver becomes more overwhelmed, and your inflammation increases. Doing a water enema helps your body remove toxic waste very quickly. It also helps reduce inflammation, it boosts digestion, it improves your skin, and also gives you better energy. Personally, I've been doing enemas in all different forms for over 10 years, and I would never miss my weekly enema. Very important, helps with so many different areas to my health. Now, I know some of you might feel that this is a lot of new information. And maybe you're thinking, okay, this stuff is powerful, but where do I actually start with testing out DETOX? Well, that's exactly why I created something that has made it really easy for you guys. If you want a simple way to start improving your energy, your digestion, and also your skin, then I put together the 10 DETOX starter tips that anyone can implement straight off the bat. These are the exact same principles that I give my clients who are dealing with things like insomnia, skin issues, brain fog, and also that stubborn fatigue and stubborn belly fat. It's all connected. So it's completely free and you can grab your copy using the link in the description below. Now, once you started supporting your longevity via enemas, the next longevity hack is something your body was designed to do every single day. And that is sweating. And this one is fascinating because sweating is literally one of the oldest documented healing practices on record. It appears in ancient literature across multiple civilizations. So why does sweating matter so much when it comes to slowing down aging? When you sweat, you release heavy metals, plastics, and fat-soluble toxins through your skin, and also greatly reduce the toxic load that your liver has to process. Sweating is literally one of your body's built-in detoxification systems, but most people barely activate it anymore. Because here's the thing, we live indoors, we sit down the whole time, we spend our days in temperature controlled environments. Modern living has removed one of the oldest and most natural healing mechanisms that we have. Now, there's a famous study out of Finland that followed over 2,000 men for 20 years, and the results were shocking. Men who used the sauna 4 to 7 times per week had a 50% lower risk of all-cause mortality. So the key takeaway here, it's not just having a sauna that gives you all of these benefits. It's just sweating, full stop. Sweating is the mechanism, and sauna is simply one of the best ways to guarantee it. So if you want to start sweating more, the simplest way, move more. Go for a brisk walk, train harder, play sports, get outdoors, just get the body moving. In my mind, movement is the foundation to get sweating more. But here's the deal, movement doesn't always guarantee people sweat. You know, some people naturally sweat less, and that's why when it comes to this longevity hack, the simplest way to guarantee that you sweat is getting in that sauna. I absolutely love saunas. They give you consistent heat, they guarantee that you sweat, and also it's predictable detox. But remember, sweating is the principle, sauna is simply the tool. So we talked about the power of enemas. We've talked about using sweating as a built-in detox system to promote longevity. Now, the third longevity hack has been around for as long as humans have existed, and it's written into almost every major religious text. What do you guys think it is? Number 3 is fasting. Fasting has always been a way to cleanse the body. Only recently has science started catching up and explaining why it is so powerful for health and longevity. After a certain number of hours without food, your body starts a process called autophagy. Autophagy is essentially cellular cleanup. Basically, your cells start breaking down damaged proteins or misfolded structures, also the internal debris, and they start recycling them for basically energy. This is one of the biggest reasons why fasting is linked to longevity in many animal models and increasingly in human data. It literally helps your body clear out the cellular junk that otherwise would accelerate aging. Fasting also affects your brain. It increases something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, which literally is like fertilizer for your brain. And when you're experiencing it, your brain is just lit up. So when you fast, you're not just burning fat, you're cleaning the cells, you're upgrading your brain chemistry, and you're also reducing inflammation. And this entire thing is upgrading your system and helping promote longevity. Now, there are many different ways to fast, and I won't go into too much detail in this video, but I'll give you a highlight of some of the different types. So first, you have intermittent fasting, where you basically skip breakfast and you only eat for a set period in the day, maybe 8 hours. You have 24 to 36 hour fast, where you just don't eat for a whole day. You just have pure water fast, where you're just having water. And the big one, which is the most impactful, is dry fasts. And this is a very advanced approach where you don't have any food or any water for a set period of time. And there's loads of Russian research around the benefits of dry fasting. That's the most impactful, but it's also the bloody hardest one to do. So now we've talked about fasting. Now let's talk about the final longevity hack that ties everything together. Because if the first 3 hacks helped eliminate what's slowing you down, it is minerals that help support all of those processes and drive your longevity forward. Minerals are the spark plug of your metabolism. Every single detox mechanism, every hormonal signal, every cellular repair function depends on minerals. Your body runs on minerals the same way an EV car runs on electricity. Without electricity, that car doesn't turn on. Without minerals, your cells don't turn on. Minerals like magnesium, sodium, potassium, chloride, calcium, copper, zinc. These are things that allow your nerves to fire, your heart to beat, and your metabolism to function. And also your mitochondria to produce energy and your brain to stay sharp. Minerals run the show. So when your minerals are high, you feel calm, you feel focused, you feel energized, you feel stable. And when they're low, you feel tired, wired, irritable, dehydrated, and inflamed. So here's the longevity link. Your body cannot detox, it cannot repair, it cannot regenerate at the speed it's meant to unless minerals are present in your body. Aging accelerates when we are mineral depleted, whilst aging slows down when minerals are in abundance in the body. But here's the issue. We are more mineral deficient today than at any other point in human history. The question is, why is that? And it's primarily because our soils are massively depleted. The food we eat today contains fewer minerals than it did just 50 years ago. High stress also burns through minerals, and we're very stressed today. Caffeine also burns through minerals. So we just have a lifestyle and a setup where we just aren't getting enough minerals from our food and we're depleting them faster. So there are millions of people walking around exhausted, craving sugar, struggling with poor sleep and low energy, and it's likely because their mineral stores are running on empty. All right, so now that you know and understand the why behind each of these 4 longevity hacks, the question then becomes, how do you actually fit them into your daily life? Because none of these things will help if you don't have a simple plan that you can stick to. So let's break it down for you guys. So firstly, water enemas. You want to aim to do at least 1 per week. Water enemas are incredibly easy to fit into your routine. As I said, you only need to do them once a week, and the best time is to do first thing in the morning before you've had any food, before you start the day. Doing 1 enema a week is more than enough to get things moving, to reduce your toxic load and really support longevity in a meaningful way. When it comes to sweating, you can do it really as often as you want. Ideally in a sauna, as we discussed, because it just gets the job done a lot quicker. As I said, you can also do sweating through exercise. So if you're going to the gym a couple times a week or you're going for runs, that absolutely is as good. Honestly, saunas are just the easiest way to sweat. And here's the thing, if you go to a gym and there's a sauna at your gym, do the workout, then jump in a sauna. Because actually, if you get the heart rate up prior to a sauna, you sweat a lot more. So basically, make sweating a regular part of your week. Try to do it at least 2 to 3 times per week, and you'll see a huge difference in how you feel and also helping you with longevity. So next up, fasting. So when it comes to fasting, we want to start small and we want to build gradually. As I mentioned earlier, there are many ways to fast, but here is the key. You start small, build slowly, you learn, and you keep going from there. If you've never fasted before, I wouldn't recommend jumping into a 24-hour fast straight off the bat. I would start with a 12-hour fast, see how you feel, how do you react, because you're going to go through a lot of emotional stuff as well when you get used to having food, right? So just start small, from like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Do that consistently. Then you build up to 14 hours, then up to 16 hours, and just build up slowly. Listen, your body will adapt surprisingly quickly. And then once you've got used to it, you can move up to doing a 24-hour fast. And if you can do 1 24-hour fast a week, that is gold. And then finally, minerals. So unlike enemas or fasting or sweating, this is one that you have to do every single day. We are constantly using up minerals, every single function in the body. So when you replenish them every single day, this is one of the best habits that you can build. Here are some of the easiest ways to do that. First up, you want to add trace minerals to your water. Also, you can use unrefined sea salt or Celtic sea salt. You can put that on your food, and you can also put it in your water. And you want to get into making homemade meat stocks and broths. They are naturally high in amino acids, but most importantly, minerals, and it is so good for your body. And then finally, you just want to eat mineral-rich foods as much as you can. So essentially, loads of fruits and vegetables, organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised. So there you have it. 4 simple, cost-effective longevity hacks that most people overlook, but can radically slow down aging when you stay consistent with them. Small habits that you stack over days, over weeks, over months, over years. Incorporate these hacks into your daily routines, and I promise you'll see the results faster than you expect. And finally, if you suffer from any chronic health issues, I've helped hundreds of professionals over the years, just like you, permanently overcome those challenges. So if you're looking to solve things like brain fog, digestive issues, or that never-ending fatigue, check out this video to see how I do it.